Hi everybody, welcome to your Explore Monthly tasting for May. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Matt. I am the founder of Explore Chocolate and Chief Dog's Body. I'm going to be taking this tasting with you today. So every month we have a different theme, and this month's theme is the Great Outdoors. We've broken the Great Outdoors into two sections, so you have the spring part this month, you're going to get summer next month. Even if the weather isn't quite summer, our thinking will be. So the Great Outdoors to me is all about things opening up. People are getting out more, the evenings are getting longer. So we're trying to connect chocolate to landscape, to places, to that feeling of being outside. So as always, there is no right or wrong way to taste these chocolates. You can do it in any order. You can pause this tasting, you can skip bits, you can fast forward me. Do whatever you want to do. It's your tasting. I'm just going to taste along with you. So the first bar on the tasting here is our Solomon Islands 60% dark milk. Okay, so this is, for me, the best of both worlds. You get the richness of the higher cacao content, but you get the creaminess from the toasted milk powder in there. So this is technically a caramelized dark milk. So cocoa beans are from Guadalcanal Island, which is in the Solomon Islands. I get lots of fruity flavors from this, little notes of green apple, and then dried fruit, roasted nuts. So as always, we can give the chocolate a snap, see if it's been tempered properly, see if I've done my job right. So you're listening for a nice audible snap from the chocolate. Snap it between your teeth, start to chew the chocolate a little bit, break it down in your mouth, let the heat from your mouth start to melt the chocolate, and then you can breathe in and out gently through your nose. So let's just get straight into this, shall we? Yeah, this chocolate to me screams out fruit and nut. You know, at some point we might do a fruit and nut version, but we are running a bit low on these cocoa beans, so I need to sort of ration it a little bit. It does exactly what it needs to for me. It's comforting, it's rich, it's not overly bitter. I'm getting those waves of fruity kind of flavors. It's quite a complex finish on this chocolate as well. It's a nice long aftertaste as well, so one that you can really slow down and hopefully you'll enjoy it. I won't be offended if there are any chocolates that don't resonate with you in this. We've all got different tastes. My job is not to tell you what you like, it's just to put some things in front of you and for you to decide for yourself what you think. Okay, so we'll move on to the next chocolate here. So this is, it's an experimental chocolate. It is infused with whiskey, so it's our Lindor's Abbey Ruby Port chocolate. So we've not put the percentage on there, but I'll tell you it is a 70% dark chocolate. It's using our Mexican cacao from Agua Escondida, which is a single estate cacao, the Gurara estate. It is, no, sorry, not Gurara, that's the Sumba. My apologies. So the Agua Escondida, it's in Tabasco. It gets its name from a concealed water source that feeds the farm. So what we've done is we've gently heat treated these cocoa beans to enable us to remove the husks. We've then taken the nibs from the cocoa beans. We've done a vacuum infusion, which is a kind of new technique that we're playing around with. So we vacuum packed the cocoa nibs with Lindor's Abbey Ruby Port, which is a distillery exclusive single cask bottling. We've aged the cocoa beans for about 2 weeks under a vacuum, and then we've gently dehydrated them, and then we've stone ground them for about 76 hours with some organic cane sugar. So with this one, it's all about how the whiskey kind of transforms the flavor of the cacao slightly, but without overpowering it. It's not meant to be a whiskey taste, it's not a whiskey flavored chocolate bar, it is just slightly altered by the whiskey. And with it being a port cask, we're expecting lots of kind of red fruity flavors. So let's see what you think to this. Now the Agua Escondida itself has lots of dried fruit flavors. I get like a red wine type acidic finish to these cocoa beans usually. So the Ruby Port is really a complementary flavor pairing. It makes it a little bit more tangy. Definitely getting some of that gentle nuttiness coming through there as well. And that sort of tannic, acidic finish to it. Now, we've recently, you may have seen, we've recently won gold at the International Chocolate Awards with a whiskey-infused chocolate bar. That was also Lindor's Abbey, but it was a virgin oak, and it was using the exact same cocoa beans, the exact same cacao percentage, and the same technique that we've used for this. I decided not to enter the Ruby Port because that one is a single cask bottling. We're not going to have a big supply of that whiskey. In fact, I think it might already be sold out, so I might be able to get another bottle from the distillery if I ask them nicely, but it's not really commercially viable. So we decided not to enter that one, but I thought it was a really interesting expression. Okay, so we're going to move on to the third chocolate bar. So those of you that have been with us for a while on Explore Monthly have probably seen this origin at least twice over the last couple of months. I really thought it was interesting to include it again this month because I've changed the roast profile on it. So this is our Guatemala La Chua 70%. It's part of our core range. So the cocoa beans come from around Lake La Chua in Guatemala, and it is a agricultural sort of biodiversity corridor which acts as a buffer zone against industry in the area. It's a protected area, and we get notes normally of strawberry, lemon zest, mocha, and peanut. Now, I did mention last month that I've been playing around with our roast profiles because the roast is really one of our main opportunities to alter the flavor of the chocolate. Once we get the cocoa beans, the genetics are decided, the fermentation is done, the drying is done, and in the same way that a coffee roaster can change the flavor and the characteristics of the coffee by the temperature and times that they're roasting, that is exactly the same thing that we do with cocoa beans. So what I've done, I'm calling this a medium roast. So I've gone slightly lower on the temperature overall, but I've extended the roast time. And the whole idea with this is I wanted to up the chocolate base notes in this, reduce a little bit of the acidity on the finish, and just make a slightly more rounded expression with these cocoa beans. I really enjoyed the vibrancy of our previous roast profiles, but I'm really excited to see how this one develops and see how it's received by customers. So it's just cocoa beans and sugar in this, just 2 ingredients. All of that flavor is coming from the genetics and from the roast profile. So let's see how you think to this one. So I'm still getting those notes of strawberry coming through. It's definitely a lot more chocolatey to begin with. You've still got that acidity, we've not lost it, but it has been tamed slightly. I'm almost getting notes of Turkish Delight or something towards the end. That sort of rose water element. And then just a gentle nuttiness towards the end. Yeah, it's still punchy, but it has been tamed just a little bit. It's really interesting to see how just some small changes along the process can massively alter the character of the chocolate. Okay, so we're going to move on to the bonbons now. So the bonbons are our filled chocolates. We're going to start with A and move through to F. So the first one here is a double mead ganache. Okay, so earlier in the year, I did a new test using a similar technique to the whiskey infusion, but I was playing around with different alcohols. So we used some local mead. We infused the cocoa beans. We ground it into a 70% dark chocolate again. So trying to reduce the amount of variables and just changing the liquid that we were infusing. And I've then used that to make a mead ganache. So then using more mead in liquid form to create an emulsion with the chocolate. Okay, so for this one, we're obviously going to be looking for some honeyed notes, a little bit of a floral complexity in there as well. but it should be gentle. We're not aiming to flavor the chocolate, we're just looking to alter it slightly. So with these ones, you can pop it in one go. You can take a bite if you want to, but generally, especially with the ones that have got multiple layers in them, they're designed to go in one go. I've tried to keep things simple this month, so most of them are just single fillings. Okay, so pop this one in and give it a taste. So instantly, this one is sweeter. There's a slight texture. So there's some partially refined sugar crystals in this one. I've used the Guatemala La Chua for this. So you've got some more of those bright acidic notes towards the end. It's a lot more bright and vibrant. Almost some sort of citrusy elements towards the end there as well. We're going to move on to the next one now. So the next bonbon here is a spruce tip ganache. Okay, so this is something quite experimental for me. I went on a walk up towards Benfraki, which is the mountain that overlooks Pitlochry. And on the walk, I saw lots of fresh spruce tips, nice young closed up tips. I picked a load of those. We've then made kind of like a spruce tip tea. A water-based infusion, which we've then used to make the ganache emulsion. So you've got this inside a milk chocolate shell. So the milk chocolate is our Tanzania 37% milk chocolate. So with this, we're expecting just a very gentle kind of citrusy, fresh, green sort of fragrance towards the end of the bonbon. So pop this one in, give it a whirl. So what's interesting here is the experience for me has actually been flipped on its head. As this ganache has kind of developed and settled, the flavors have all kind of had a chance to sit for a while. I'm actually getting the spruce more at the beginning. And then as that breaks down, I'm getting more of the sweetness and the creaminess from the chocolate at the end, which is really interesting actually. Again, the flavor's there, but I don't think it's dominant. We always want the chocolate to be the star of the show. But this one to me was really interesting because it directly connects us to the place that we're in now. I am actually working on a couple of other chocolates which are going to be sort of seasonal releases, and the idea is chocolate rooted in place and time. So I'll keep you posted with those. We've got a few experiments to do. We'll see how they come out. If they're good, we'll sell them. If not, then we won't. And it will just be for me. Okay, so the next chocolate here, this is something that I've been playing around with for 5 or 6 months now. So this was one of the first secondary ferment tests that I did. So we used pineapple. We did another one with pineapple and Szechuan peppercorns. We did them as small bars. And it was one of the sort of proof of concept chocolates for this secondary fermentation technique that we've been playing around with. So we've taken pineapple, we've done a lacto ferment with 1% salt added in just as a bacterial buffer. And then we've taken that pineapple, we've done the vacuum infusion with the cocoa nibs, we've left it again for another week. Once that has then finished fermenting and sort of mingling with the cocoa nibs, we've gently dehydrated and ground it into a solid chocolate. So I've taken that pineapple ferment chocolate and I've made a simple water-based ganache with it. So again, the idea with this one is to be super gentle. I'm hoping more for the aftertaste that you might just get hints of pineapple. And we've used our Belize Maya Mountain cacao for this one. This was a no-brainer for me because the Belize Maya Mountain has, to me, notes of pineapple, honey, ginger, and passion fruit. So again, it's a complementary flavor for those cocoa beans to begin with, not trying to change the flavor as much as sort of accent the pineapple that's already in there. You might then get a slight savory salinity towards the end as well. So let's have a look. Yeah, to me that one is exactly what I was expecting. Very pleased with that. The texture on that ganache is a little bit firmer than the last one. I quite enjoy that. Slight bite to it. It's a slower flavor release. And you get a nice kind of tropical finish to it as well. But again, it's gentle. It's not like I've just loaded pineapple into this. It's there, but it's almost like you have to search for it. Okay, so the next chocolate is, for me, definitely about being outside. One of the things I associate with these longer evenings is being able to get around a fire with friends, and the pizza oven comes out, and all of those things, and I'm left with these memories of smoke. That kind of lingering smoke at the end of the night when you come inside. So this is a bourbon smoked caramel. So we've taken bourbon wood and we've cold smoked some cream. We've then used that to make a classic salted caramel, but with less salt than the salted caramel. So this has gone inside a milk chocolate shell that's using the Solomon Islands 60% dark milk that we tasted at the beginning. So this one, again, I'm hoping that the smoke isn't going to overpower. It tasted great when I was piping them into the molds, but this is my first time tasting this since I made these chocolates for you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to begin with, all I get is caramel, and then as that starts to break down, you just get that wave after wave of smoke coming through, and then the kind of dried fruit flavors from the chocolate come through towards the end. I'm glad that I went for the 60% dark milk in the end, because I think if we'd have used the Tanzania, this would have read a little bit too sweet. For me, it's right on the edge. Those of you that know me know I don't like overly sweet chocolate, funnily enough. I always gravitate more to the darks than the milks. And if I do have a sweeter filling, I like to offset that with a darker chocolate usually. But it makes me think of being outside for sure. Okay, so the next chocolate we're going to go for is taking us on a bit of a trip. So this is our Sumba Island 65% dark chocolate as a water-based ganache. So the Sumba Island is a single estate. So Sumba Island is near Bali, and this is a single estate cacao from the Gurara estate. This one is the Gurara. So for me, I get notes of apricot, grapefruit, toasted bread from this chocolate. There's like a real nice mixture of those flavors. And whenever I taste this, it transports me. It makes me feel like I'm somewhere hot and sunny, a daiquiri in my hand or something like that. Yeah, so this is one of our signature sort of techniques, this water-based ganache. I don't like to use cream in my ganaches because I think cream is quite heavy. It mutes acidic flavors, and that's where we get most of the interesting notes from our chocolate. So I prefer to use a mixture of water and sunflower oil. It gives us a similar texture. It's silky, it's smooth, but it's lighter. You don't get as much of a cloying finish where it sticks to the roof of your mouth, and you should get more of those interesting flavors coming through. Let's have a look, taste. Again, it's just what I want in this sort of chocolate. Actually, I get a nice creaminess through the middle of the experience, and then you get that kind of like tanginess towards the end. Yeah, definitely getting those kind of toasted bread, cereally, malty kind of notes in there as well, mixed in with the kind of fragrant fruitiness that I would associate with apricots. It's a very clean finish. Okay, so the last chocolate that we're going to go on to here, I had a lot of fun with this. I have tasted this when I first made them. It's settled for a couple of days before we sent them out. So this one is lime, coconut, and palm sugar. So what I've done here, I've made a lime tincture. So I took some fresh lime zest, and then I infused that in a really high proof rum, a white rum as kind of a fairly neutral alcohol base, and that has made kind of like a lime extract. And I've used that in the ganache, and then we've got a little bit of coconut milk in there as well. And then at the end, I chopped up some palm sugar and just crumbled it in. So the palm sugar should give us just a little, almost a fudgy kind of texture to it. It's not super crumbly and crunchy, but it should just be a gentle kind of texture to it. And that sort of deep sweetness that we get from palm sugar. But I kind of wanted the lime to be forward in this one. The lime's almost the star of the show. The coconut's meant to be very gentle and delicate. Almost just a whisper of coconut, and then just a little bit of texture from that palm sugar as well. So let's give this one a go. Yeah. Again, that one is exactly what I wanted. The lime is pretty punchy. The chocolate here is more to provide structure, a little bit of creaminess, supporting sweetness, but actually we wanted mostly the fragrance of that lime zest coming through. The texture from the palm sugar is present, it's noticeable, and the coconut just kind of rounds things out, again with just a little bit of fragrance. So that one's kind of like a prelude to the summer. Okay, well that concludes our tasting for this month. I hope you've enjoyed tasting these chocolates as much as I have, and we really enjoyed making them. We're looking forward to sharing the summer ones with you in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks a lot. We'll see you soon.